What's going on? Yeah, so today's a pretty cool day. I drew this cool drawing last night. I was really excited about it. There's this woman out there. Her name is like Lois von Barley or something like that. Really cool artwork. So, yeah, I had a very zen day yesterday. Spent the day with my family, and it was really, really good. I um, I just found a peaceful place to enter, and I wasn't triggered at all, and I think that's the key, really, to spending time with family, is just to realize that everything's going to be okay. Realize that everything's going to be okay going into it, going into the experience with family or friends or anybody, really. And just being very zen and present and peaceful. And life always just seems to work when you're in that state. But in order to get to that state, you really need to work on healing on your own in solitude. It's very important, you know. All these things matter. Everything matters. Everything you do matters. I think that's very important for people to hear, that everything you do matters. Even the things that you say to yourself, every second, every day, they matter. The story that you tell yourself that you're living, who you are, what you want to become, what you find important, to think about that every day. You know, to not say anything harmful or negative to yourself, to always say uplifting things about yourself. Never say anything negative about what you did or who you are. Don't put yourself down. What you think about yourself is everything. It's everything. It's how you treat others as well. You know, somebody once told me, you know, if you're constantly beating yourself up, how are you going to treat other people? If you're hard on yourself about the little things, or if you're just hard on yourself and you're always beating yourself up and you never think you're good enough, how are you going to be about other people? How are you going to react to what they do, you know? And, you know, and even this morning, you know, I had a confrontation with my roommate, and you know, I definitely reacted instead of responding. You know, going back to dialectical behavior therapy, I'm sure you know what that means, and if you don't, buy dialectical behavior therapy books or look it up on YouTube. Watch YouTube videos on dialectical behavior therapy. Responding and reacting especially, and this morning I reacted. I didn't respond, and after I reacted, I went outside and I looked at the stars, and I came back in, and I talked to my roommate quietly, and it was a well thought out connecting of what had just occurred and why it triggered me, and how to better it in the future, and having that connection, having that communication is essential. If but you have to have the hard conversations. You have to have the courage and the bravery to sit down with a person and talk it out rationally, and be like, okay, this is what triggered me, you know, this is why it triggered me, and maybe in the future, you know, how'd that make you feel, and like, how could we go further with this, and how could we avoid, you know, these confrontational paths that led up to what happened, right? But having the hard conversations is everything, and communicating is everything, because if you don't have the hard conversations, if you don't communicate, then essentially you're not going to grow as a friendship. You're not going to grow as a relationship. If you can't do that with family members, your relationship with them is never going to grow. Like I wrote, I think it was 135, video 135. It was called The Rise of the Phoenix. And in that video, towards the end, I talked about how my relationships with my mom and my relationships with my sister, they had to come falling down. They had to crash. because essentially we were all living a lie. The whole family was, where I didn't know how they truly felt about me, and it came out after we got into a fight. But it was a significant fight, and I didn't realize that they felt a certain way about me. So I was like, well, okay, that's great that they feel that way about me, because it's something that needs to be worked on. And I'm glad that we got to get to the point where we finally talked it out. And it took 42 years, right? Sometimes it takes that long if both sides aren't comfortable with communicating and having the hard conversations with each other. But it takes both sides to also grow from that hard conversation and put in the effort to change their behavior, or to change the way their thinking pattern goes, or to change the way they are, right? To make the relationship work. But if a person's just being a bully, you also need to recognize the fact that there are bullies out there are controlling people out there are abusive people out there, and there are predators out there. So if you do run into those people that are predators, abusive, controlling, or bullies, you need to realize that they are bullies. So you need to distance yourself from those people if they are harmful for your emotional and health or well-being, and you need to find somewhere else to go so you can feel more healthy. I love when my roommate sings. He's a sweetheart. Um, uh, so yeah, so I think that's essential. Just having the hard conversations and growing and having a better relationship because you had the hard conversations. My relationship with my sister and my mom, after I spent yesterday with them, is 10 times better than it ever has been, because we finally got all of it out a month ago before I filmed video 135. And I think that is essential to have a healthy relationship with people. Try to respond instead of react, going back to dialectical behavior therapy. If you don't know what that is, look that up. Watch YouTube videos on it. If you don't want to buy books about dialectical behavior therapy, and and then uh, and then calmly, rationally discuss things with people. If the other side could rationally and calmly discuss things with you, if they're at that maturity level, if they're at that emotional or mental level, and if they've done healing. A lot of people in this world, they haven't healed yet. One of the main reasons why I haven't been in a relationship with a person for a very long time is because many people have not put in the work to heal themselves. So I don't want to have to be their psychiatrist. Because if there's one thing I'm very good at, it's being a psychiatrist. And that's okay. I don't mind taking on that role or that responsibility. I just have to be aware that I don't have the power to make other people happy, nor should I want to. But anyways, I hope you're having a great day. I hope everything's good if anybody's watching. And and it's Friday, so I hope your life is doing well. I hope everybody in your life is functioning well. I hope you're not suicidally depressed. I hope you're happy or fulfilled. I don't like to use the word happy, but I hope what you're doing, you're living a meaningful life, not a happy life. Because life is not to find happiness, life is to live a meaningful life. That's the reason why I focus on these videos and I don't, do whatever else I do. You gotta do things that are meaningful to you. If you don't, what's the point of living? Because happiness comes and goes. Happiness isn't everlasting. Like they say in dialectical behavior therapy, or somebody that I follow says it, happiness and sadness, they're like clouds in the sky. The cloud is over there. It's happiness. And then the cloud goes away. And then there's an empty hollow point, and it might be sadness. It might be upset, it might be anger, it might be frustration. And that's the next cloud. And then another cloud comes. And that cloud might be happiness. But that cloud disappears. And another cloud comes in. And that cloud might be frustration, depression, suicidal depression. So to not focus on just happiness, because happiness is fleeting, but focusing on a meaningful life, you'll have a better existence in general. Because when you do meaningful things and you surround yourself around meaningful people or loving people, life tends to make more sense. And every day isn't that much of a struggle. But in order to have loving people in your life, you really have to do the healing process, because you'll attract loving people if you're healing and you have that love within yourself, because you've been working on healing and putting in the effort to heal yourself. Get over the past. Focus on being in the present. Figure out what went wrong in your past and work to fix it in the present moment. Whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's dialectical behavior therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, whatever it is. Having a therapist, psychiatrist, if you believe in such things. Taking proper medication, if you believe in such things. Hope you're having fun today. Thank you so much for everything. If anybody's out there and listening, and enjoy your Friday. Much love. Take care.